here, a couple of minutes later. I was out there trimming palm trees in the backyard of this Florida mansion. We were trying to get palm trees set up there. So we, oh, the light's not working here. I turned it off. Yeah, sorry, I'm tired here. Had a long, stressful week here. We've had lots of guys working, getting lots of things done. We've, on this mansion flip project that I've been doing for my investor partner and I, we're gonna make a ton of money, but it requires a lot of management. So I've had a lot of really affordable people working here and a lot of management around that. And so it's been long days, lots of decisions, lots to do. Trying to run all my businesses back in Canada, all my projects back in Canada. We have, geez, I must have like 60 units under renovation currently. And this one is the most stressful because I'm the one who's the GC on it. And so I have to coordinate everything and live through renovations. Like with 3 kids, trying to live through the dust and the sawing at 8 o'clock in the morning. The guys keep working from 8 to 8, right? So 12 hours, sometimes longer. Guys are working until midnight. We got something else going on. We gotta get ready for the next trade coming the next morning. So there's been tight timelines. I want to get back to Canada. And so I've been pushing to try to move along this entire mansion flip in like 6 weeks has been my goal. And to rehab an entire mansion top to bottom in 6 weeks is aggressive on a 90K budget. It was my stretch goal. I don't know if I'll hit it, but that's my project goal. I had contractors come in and say it was a $1.2 million renovation. I was like, I could probably do it for like 8%. So if they think it's 1.2 million, they're probably marking up 1,000%, and I'll just do it for less. And so that requires a lot of my time to micromanage each individual trade, as opposed to bringing a GC and saying, hey, here's 500 grand, go for it. So that's been a challenge. Today was interesting. I barely checked the market, but at 10 o'clock this morning, it was like crashing 1.6% down. I was like, this is amazing. We have a nice downward momentum. I entered a few short trades, and it went from, I think, 450 to 469 on the QQQ. I think we had a 3.9, almost 4% reversal from the bottom today to the top, like just crazy. My thesis was that Kamala crushed in the debate. I mean, it was, all the moderators were pretty left-leaning, but still, Trump did a bad job. And we know that Kamala is terrible for the economy. She's going to basically destroy the American economy, right? When you attack the rich, they just flee and they fire everyone that they hire. So that doesn't actually work, right? Her policies don't actually work, beyond the fact she's unqualified. But not that I love Trump either, to be honest. But anyway, my thesis was it would drive markets down, but instead, markets actually crashed on PCE today and then rallied at like 11 o'clock noon and started rallying and just straight up rally. So I got wiped on that. The market's now pricing in a 25 basis point cut in the US. So in the US, they're pricing in 25 basis points, then 50 basis points, then 50 basis points. That's a 1.25% drop just this year. In Canada, they're forecasting every single meeting for the next year will be at least 1 cut. So in Canada, we just hit 3.99% 5-year fixed promotional offers right now. We're back into the 3s in Canada. When that starts to stick, and we start seeing 3.99, 3.79, and that becomes commonplace, we are going to see the craziest run up in valuations of real estate. Like 2022 is going to be a joke, because you got to remember 2022, the prices we had when rates were low, we didn't have the 20% inflation we have now. So the cost to build now is 25% higher. So we should see, just inflation adjusted, 25% real, in terms of real return, real pricing, 25% higher than we had in 2022, just because of all the inflation that we had. So when real estate just catches up to where it was, like no appreciation, just back to where it was in 2021, 2022 in Ontario, specifically Ontario, we're going to see, I think, another 20% on top of that, just due to inflation. Also, like rents are up 20% since 2021. Like rents have just skyrocketed, and we've increased minimum wage, and you know what minimum wage does, right? The majority of the people who are the renting class in Southwestern Ontario are working in jobs that are close to minimum wage. So when you bump minimum wage from 14 to 17, it just drives rents up from 1,400 to 1,700 for the average apartment. And so just $400 more in our pocket. On a 6-plex, that's $2,400 more in value. And then that equates to, at a 6 cap, that equates to like a, 15, 20 to 1 in some cases. If it's a 5 cap, get 20 to 1 on every dollar of rent, right? So if you bring in $10,000 more in rent on a building, the building is worth like 200 grand more. So that's a huge lift, right? If you bring rents up 100 grand, you're getting a $2 million increase in valuation on the property in terms of the income approach to valuing real estate, which is the primary method they use on investment properties. So, yeah. Hey Brandon, how you doing? Chung says, any creative ways to take money out of a corp while minimizing taxes is the answer to the question. Again, I've only had like a few hours sleep, pushed myself, getting a lot of stuff done on the business and stuff, and then woke up early here because I had contractors working in the morning at 8 o'clock, so I had to be up early here. So let me think here. There are lots of ways to get money out of corporations. I'll give you one example that's completely legal and completely on side. In Ontario, if you have a corporation, you can take out a whole life insurance policy, and you could borrow the funds from the policy as collateral that's inside of your corporation and personally borrow, say, $1 million, and use the cash value to grow at 6-7% compounded in the policy. There'd be a lot of fees involved, but you can effectively withdraw from a corporation using whole life products. That's one way to get a tax-free withdrawal. And the tax is covered when you die because the whole life insurance just collapses and pays off the tax. The government's given an incentive where you can get tax-free withdrawal from corporations. What else can you do to get money out of a corporation? You could sell the corporation. You could sell it to someone. And if it was eligible and it was a share sale, then potentially if it was a Canadian business here in Ontario, you could sell said business and per spouse take $1 million capital gains tax free out of the business. So that's another way to do it. If you've lent money into your business to build your business along the way, if you lent money into your business, you'll have that same amount of money plus interest that you could take out of your business later. So for instance, you built a business up, you put $200-300 grand into your business to build your business up. You could take $200-300 grand back out of your business when you repay those shareholder loans. It's another way to do it. You could just take a dividend and pay, if it's an eligible dividend, a reduced tax rate on taking that out. And if you took it out, you could pay another way. This is not really a big game, but small game. If you had kids or you had friends, you could pay them $15,000 a year from the corporation. Your corporation gets a tax deduction, so you actually get tax money back in your corporation at your tax rate. And if that person has no other income, like your kids have no other income, you pay them 12 grand for the year, $1,000 a month, and they're actually working for your business, they can draw that out tax-free. Here in Ontario, the first 15 grand approximately you earn per person per year is completely tax-free. So if you have 3 kids, there's 12 grand, 12 grand, 12 grand, there's $36,000 a year you're siphoning out of your business. That's not even just a tax-free withdrawal, because it is tax-free personally for them, but it's actually, you get a deduction on your business. So it's better than tax-free. The government is paying you tax back for your corporate tax back while letting you take out of the business tax-free for your kids. Do the same for if you have older parents that don't work, if you have friends even. If you have a friend who's like, I have no income this year, I'm a dirtbag gamer. I know some guys like that I went to school with who don't make anything. You could literally just say hey, I'll pay you 15 grand this year and you live in my basement and you give it back to me as rent or something. We work some scenario out and your friend can collect 15 grand working for your business tax-free. Your business gets a deduction too. So you get that tax credit on your corporate side to reduce your corporate taxes. And there's no tax consequence at all of paying them out to their personal name if they have no other income. So have poor friends that would work with you, poor family, your kids, poor kids. You can use your kids to tax shelter. There are lots of things you can do, way more things than I'm thinking of now. Probably 1,000 other tax strategies, but there was a time when I used to read all those articles and that was all I did for fun, was read articles like this. I'm by no means an expert. I'm dangerous to myself, to be honest, how little that I know. So don't take my word for it. Again, talk to a CPA. Click the like button. I like that comment. That was a good one. Good evening, Will. How you doing? Hi, Mike. Can you do flips in a corporation tax 12%? Yes, you can. You could buy properties. You can do assignment fees. You can have a wholesale corporation where all you do is buy properties under contract. Don't even close on them. Get a piece of paper that says you have the right to buy this property. Before it closes, you sell the right to buy that property to someone else for an assignment fee. It's a wholesale assignment fee. And you can make $50,000, $20,000, $10,000, whatever fee for just selling the contract. That's eligible active income. I believe it's taxed the first $500,000 per year at 12% in Ontario. In Alberta, it's taxed at 7%. So it's almost zero. If you live in Alberta, it's way better than Florida, way better than most states in the United States. People rag on Canada. Canada's actually not that bad from a tax perspective. If you earn income the right kind of way, Canada is very favorable to people with growing families because they get all the tax breaks and the free money for having kids in Canada. Canada's pretty good in some ways for certain things. In terms of, I don't know, there's always some other loophole. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but there's always some other loophole to do it. And in terms of flipping inside of corp, yes, you can also flip properties. You could buy a property, put on the MLS, sell it, and then you would make either, you have a choice. I guess the argument would be, I guess it depends on your accountant. You'd have to decide how greedy you want to be, but one might argue if you're holding the property for a long time, then it would be a capital gain. So if you bought a property, rented it out, your primary purpose was to rent it out for rental income, then of course that would have a capital gain on sale. But if you bought a property with the intention just to flip it, you didn't rent it out, it wasn't meant to be a rental property, you didn't change your mind, you were going into it to flip. I rarely do this, I mostly buy rental properties, but when I do flip, when you do flip, yes, it is active income if that's what the business does. If you have a track record of like doing lots and lots of flips, I have an entity that does lots of flips. It also does capital gains. It's a bit muddy. You should have a separate corporation. Ideally, I'm not even clean as I should be. What I should have is a corporation just for flipping, corporation just for my long-term holdings. I sometimes do I'll buy a property to hold forever and then I'll decide to flip it. Is mostly what happens. Like I'll buy the property thinking I'm gonna keep it for like 3 years and then I fix it up. I'm like, oh, I should just sell this. And I sell it for a large profit. And then so I'd have to just clearly document. The biggest thing is just documenting and explaining what you're doing to the government. So yes, if it's active income and it's your primary thing that you do for a living, it's a very easy argument that a flip is something you held for a short amount of time and you're doing lots of them, they would be considered an active business. So yes, you would have active business tax treatment, which is very much favorable. Again, in Ontario, it's like 12% tax. So flipping can be very advantageous. Do not flip in your personal name in Ontario, in Canada. Do not do it. If you buy a property with the intention to sell it within less than 18 months, don't do it in your personal name, period. They will nail you to the fucking cross. It is like every single doctrine they send out, like bulletins and stuff, they're going after real estate flippers. But they're not going after real estate flippers who do it inside as a full business. They're just going after people doing it in their personal name. I guess because the idea is that inside of a corporation, when you eventually take that money out of your corporation, you get taxed at income tax rates personally. So the idea is you're paying corporate tax and then paying personal tax, and those together should add up to the same as if you flipped it personally. That's the idea behind it, but there's advantages to flipping inside of a corporation, in my opinion. Do flipping companies benefit from the small business deduction? Yes. As far as I understand, talk to your accountant, but I'm like 90% sure, 80% sure that they do qualify. I know of other people who are treating their flips as their full-time business, and I'm pretty sure they get the small business deduction, like 99% sure that they're getting it. So if they're getting it, and I think I've been getting it, so it should be, my accountant said yes, but again, talk to your accountant. I don't know your situation. If you're doing just like 1 or 2 flips, that might be different. I do a lot of them, so I also do a lot of buy and holds too, so it's, I'm a real estate investor full-time. That's what I do. Yeah. Short on sleep, but still grinding for us. Yes, Matthew, I am exhausted. You see the bags under my eyes. I've been pushing really hard. I'm at a phase right now where like, if I don't push hard on this, there's a risk that I won't be back until like November back in Canada. And I want to go back home. I want to get this done. I want my money back. I lent in money to this investor and I will get all my money back plus interest. By leaning in some time, I guarantee my return, and I would prefer that to accepting a loss. So I'm the kind of person that money means more to me right now at this stage of my life than my happiness or my sleep. I will push to make sure that I do not lose money. It's part of why people like to invest with me, right? Is like, because of that grit. Like a lot of people give up, they're pussies, and they're like, oh, it gets hard, I'm going to bed. Oh, like life got hard and I lost on my flip. It's like, you're in control of your business. You only lose if you don't put the work in. If I put enough work in, I can never lose. So I like to challenge myself. I'm very driven. I very much like to see myself succeed. So Chung says I need to start having kids. Yeah, I mean, kids are a great tax deduction. They produce the possibility, not in their younger years. They're, for sure, kids are expensive too. So like, don't let me get on here and tell you guys like, oh, you have to have kids because it's, you have to have kids because it's, tax advantageous. There's a lot of cost to having kids, and they probably cost a lot more than they benefit. But if you do have kids, take advantage of the tax benefits, because you could probably withdraw, if you had 3 kids, you could withdraw multiple 6 figures to cover the cost of the kids from your corporations tax-free, plus the government money that gets given. All right. If that's the last of the questions, I would be cool to end the stream early tonight. This would be like the earliest stream I've ever had. That'd be cool. If you have any questions, burning questions, put them in the comments now. Otherwise, I'm gonna end the stream a little early tonight. That'd be great to finish it early. But let me do a recap of what's been going on in the world, what's been going on in my life. While you guys have any burning questions, type them in now. Forever hold your peace. Okay. I'm closing on 4 more properties. We picked up 2 are closing this Monday. One 4-plex. We picked up a 4-plex in London for $435,000, right near downtown. It's got an ARV, hopefully, of about $1 million. So that was at basically 43 cents on the dollar. But we have to renovate a little bit and kick some drama with tenants and stuff that my partner will have to deal with. But there's that. And then there's another property where we got delayed on closing, but it's like 212,000, I think. I've double checked the numbers on that, but low 200s, possible duplex or bigger single family in the east of London. Picked up 2 more properties in Sarnia that are closing. If anyone wants to throw in a mortgage on these, so I don't have to sell more stocks off to buy these properties in cash, it would be nice to have some leverage. I am not going to the bank and burning my relationships with the bank for flips. So if someone wants a short-term, 6-12 months, max 12 months, 10% flat rate, that would be cool. I've got one in Sarnia we picked up for $139,000. It's a nice big 2-story single family. It will sell for $300. So we bought that one for, I guess it was, it worked out to like 30 something cents on the dollar. I could use a mortgage on it to again, like 40% of ARV. First mortgage, someone wants to make 10% flat and put a small mortgage on it. That would be cool. Leverage makes my returns better. I have another property that we picked up, which is like a bungalow, 2 and 2 possibility. Picked up for 212,000. I can't remember anymore. So the low 200s. I've double checked. It might be like 215 or something. But that one we could use a mortgage on too. Otherwise, I'll have to sell stock and use my cash to buy those as well. So if anyone's interested in those, hit me up. Rosehart Capital, ROSCHARTCAPITAL@gmail.com. And if you want to hit me up with a request, you want to put some money to work, a couple $100,000 at 10%, I will secure it to lawyers. That's an option for someone to make some passive income and invest alongside me, be a money partner, so to speak. You're taking no equity risk. If I were to ever not pay, you would take the property at such a deal. Like, could you imagine taking a single family house for like 100 and something thousand, or like 200, under 200 grand? They're unheard of, these deals, right? Like, no one in London is buying houses at 200 grand. No one is buying these kinds of deals. So on the counter side of that, I know lots of people who are looking for those opportunities. So if you have a deal like that and you want to sell it to me, if I don't buy it, I know someone who will. Hit me up, same email. So assign something to me or sell one to me. Another option is if you're doing a deal like that and it's that good, bring it to me, I will get you funded. I can make calls to people, I can get your deal fully funded. Don't let the deals fall apart, don't pass up on them. Bring deals, I can find money. Deals always find money, especially if you have enough time to market them. I mean, mine closing this Monday is a little tight, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. I'm gonna close on my own cash if I have to, but I just like to throw it out there for you guys. If some people follow this, wanna invest, they wanna do a first mortgage, super safe. The worst case scenario is literally if like I went bankrupt, which couldn't happen. I'd have to burn through my entire net worth, which would be nearly impossible. But let's just say I did, or I died or something, and my wife couldn't pick up the pieces, and then my heirs couldn't pick up the pieces in the States. Like, let's say a worst case, like ending world scenario, you want the property for that price. You literally want to take over the rental property. And when I lend, I try to look at it the same way now. Whenever I lend nowadays, I'm like, do I want this property at the amount I'm laying the mortgage out on? So that's where it's been very helpful doing that in terms of like my underwriting process. After having a couple of properties at A lenders, it becomes difficult to qualify for more properties with 9-to-5 income. That's true. What are your suggestions for someone looking to scale? Bird onto third deal. So again, I've mentioned this a dozen times in the streams, but A lenders don't like it when you flip. They don't like it when you buy a lot of properties. They don't understand that. You have to go through that awkward stage where you're growing, and once you're big enough, you can go to commercial and do commercial financing. We have a line of credit, and every time once it's set up, every time you buy a property, it gets added to the line of credit, and that's what I need. I'm at the stage where I'm almost big enough where I need that like stabilized line of credit. Every time I buy a property, the bank appraises it, adds it to my line of credit. It's a commercial facility where I have like automatic, prime plus one or whatever, automatic mortgages on everything that I buy in my business. And my business is real estate. So that's what I'm working towards currently, is setting some facility up like that with a local credit union. I've been so busy with operations in the business, and we have like a $30 million portfolio now. That's a lot to take on in a short amount of time. I need to stabilize it all, dispose of some stuff that doesn't make sense, reallocate the portfolio, and then bring that portfolio to a good credit union or a bank and get commercial financing. That's what you do as you scale. But the step getting there, sometimes you might have to take on some private financing or some B lenders like, Magenta and other B lenders that will help you. So, yes. All right, guys, that's the last of it. I got the last question, I think, here. Oh, there's another question that just popped up. There's the 10 commandments. If you Google it, I think I made a video on the 10 commandments to renting out to tenants. And there's 10 things that I look for when I'm renting to tenants. Some of it is like proof of savings, proof of income. I've never had a tenant with a lot of savings in their bank account and a good job and a good credit score and all these factors, good landlord references. And I look for like pets and smoking and all those kinds of things. When they have those boxes, all 10 of those questions answered, I've never had a tenant fail on me that passed the checklist. The problem is most tenants don't pass it. So it weeds it down to only the best tenants. So yes, there is a process to screening. It's very important. I hope your managers follow the checklists. Most managers don't. Most don't care. Hopefully you can find ones that do. If not, you have to train in-house to find people to do that. And initially you have to do it to train how it's done right. All right, everyone, the secret to unlocking wealth through you is 3 levers and control your financial future. Spend less, earn more, and maximize returns and the difference. That's it. That's the secret of building wealth. Have a good night, everyone.